with CM Punk having surgery and upcoming title plans for Roman Reigns. This is Wrestling Hub. My name is John and you're watching the Wrestling Report for June 9th. Before we get into the rest of the video, make sure you subscribe to Wrestling Hub and turn on all notifications to stay up to date with everything in the world of pro wrestling. Also, don't forget to follow us on Instagram at Wrestling Hub Official and also follow us on Twitter at Wrestling_Hub. Talking about her move from WWE to AEW, Athena said on the Complex Unsanctioned podcast, when you look at the AEW pay-per-views and you're seeing all my friends that I used to roll with on the indies and they're finally getting the platform that they deserve, and it's just like, man, they look like they're having so much fun and I gotta be a part of it, you know? And it just kept setting in. It's like the more that went on there, the more I was just looking at AEW, the more I was like longing to be at AEW. Then Jade Cargill came on my radar with that Storm cosplay she did and I was like, oh my god, this girl is fire. That's the first moment where I was like, oh, there's something here. Oh, there's something special here. And I remember then she came out with the Jade from Mortal Kombat cosplay and I was like, damn, she got that. And it seemed from day one where the company started all the way to now, and seeing how much love and passion that goes into every match, that goes in every talent that sets foot, and you see it on their face, and it made me long for that again. When it comes to a potential WWE return, NWA World Heavyweight Champion Matt Cardona told Bleacher Report, "I'd be lying if I said I never wanted to wrestle in Madison Square Garden again or never wanted to wrestle in a big stadium for a WrestleMania. Of course I would. I'm not saying that, but I'm also not saying that I'm doing everything I'm doing now thinking, what can I do to get back to WWE or what can I do to go to AEW? I don't give a damn. Sorry, I don't. If Tony Khan or Vince McMahon or Johnny Ace or Bruce Pritchard called me, of course, I'd pick up the phone and have a conversation, but that's not my goal right now. There are certain things I'd have to tone down like the cursing, but other than that, I absolutely think it would work. It's just a different side of me, it's the evolution. I wouldn't be opposed to coming back as Zack Ryder. I love my always ready music. It would basically be me, just with the old Zack Ryder name. No more O-Radio, none of that stuff, even though Downstate did make the harder version of it. I would love to come back as me, Matt Cardona, but I think realistically, WWE has that IP, and they've invested a lot in that name, so I would have no problem doing it, even if it was a one-off at the Royal Rumble or something like that. I think it'd be interesting. If I were to come out, I don't know if the people would boo. I think I'd get a huge pop. I think it'd be a babyface again. On the sessions, AEW star Nyla Rose, who is transgender, explained why gender has nothing to do with her character in wrestling. The answer is very simple, and I wish it was a little bit more in-depth for you, but I don't win matches with my gender. It's not important. I also feel like on a theatrical level, it's not entertaining. It's important as a fact of who I am, but what I do in the ring, and the reason that I'm performing, the reason that I'm out there wrestling, it has no bearing on that whatsoever. So why make it a part of the character? It's part of who I am, but not what I do. Son of WWE Hall of Famer British Bulldog Davey Boy Smith Jr. was set to return to WWE but would end up being released in November. Speaking to Inside the Ropes, Smith revealed what the company had planned for him. John Cone said the next time you were going to come to SmackDown, it's going to be your debut. You did really good in your dark match, Vince really liked it. So I was like, great, I'll just wait, and then they asked me to do a dark match in Tampa, and they were going to do some backstage vignettes with me and my father's leather vest. They were going to show that for the documentary, and then luck would have it I ended up having COVID really bad, so I was kind of out of commission for about 3 weeks or a month. Then I was kind of forgotten about. I came to TV 1 or 2 times. I was waiting to come back, and then they called and John Laurinaitis said he wasn't a fan of it, he wasn't happy with the list of names he was given, but it wasn't from him. I don't know what they were waiting for. The only thing I was told was I was going to be debuting on SmackDown and they were going to call me the Stampede Stud. It just never happened. It wasn't my fault. I showed up more than in shape. I saw Vince, and he was like, "Oh, you're looking good, kid." At the most recent NXT 2.0 TV tapings, PW Insider is reporting that Toxic Attractions' Gigi Dolan suffered an injury scare. While teaming with Mandy Rose and JC Jane against Cora Jade, Indy Hartwell, and Roxanne Perez, Jade apparently hit Dolan with a cannonball senton before a rushed pinfall to when the match was made. Dolan got cheers from the crowd as she was helped to the back. It was suggested that Dolan did not appear to be in any kind of pain or distress. As it was said, she may have just gotten the wind knocked out of her. Speaking about the MJF situation, Vince Russo took a shot at the AEW president on the latest episode of his show for coming across as a clown. Bro, Tony Khan, listen, with all due respect, I don't know the guy. I'm sure he is actually a sweetheart of a guy. He's given a lot of guys jobs, forget all that. I'm talking about what I've seen of him on television in scrums. Bro, the guy comes across like a clown. You can't put a clown in a serious angle like this. Like it's going to be silly, and bro, that really creates a problem. With him being released from WWE last summer, fans are still wondering when they'll see Bray Wyatt return to the ring. Speaking about the perception of his Fiend character, Dave Meltzer pointed out that WWE felt it was doing damage to others. You can make the argument for Bray Wyatt becoming a big star, and he was absolutely a huge merchandise seller. But you can also make the argument that he was not a success, and I know people there who have made the argument that, oh, he's one of the most over guys. He sold a lot of merchandise. He was fired for reasons having nothing to do with being over or not over. He was not fired for having to do with his gimmick. He was fired having to do with things that I probably shouldn't talk about, so I'm not going to start a can of worms. But it's got nothing to do with that. He had health issues. Also, as far as being kept out of action and everything like that. So it was just one of those things. But the argument against him, and that with the exception of Daniel Bryan, pretty much everyone he worked with got destroyed by him and was left for shit and had to rebuild and had to turn heel. I mean, granted, Miz turning heel was probably going to happen anyway, because he wasn't that great of a babyface. And Seth turning heel because they absolutely destroyed him as a babyface. That's absolutely due to the Bray Wyatt thing and the booking of the Bray Wyatt thing. So there was the argument that he was more harm than good, other than the fact that he sold a lot of merchandise. Sportskeeda recently posted a quote from William Regal on Dynamite where he said AEW is for fighting and to leave the entertainment elsewhere, which seems like a shot at WWE. Regal responded to this story on Twitter writing, "Wished I hadn't seen this, and this is why I don't look on here much. This was a jab aimed at the Jericho Appreciation Society, people we are fighting with at the moment. Stop trying to make headlines or cause trouble. Another reason for me to stay out of the wrestling bubble." With Alexa Bliss returning to WWE TV a few weeks back, she is no longer in her supernatural state as a character. Talking about her comeback on his podcast, former WWE writer Freddie Prinze Jr. said, "The return of Alexa Bliss was a complete and total tragedy. They literally just said, here's a match. There was no story, but they just brought her back, so maybe they had something. So I'm not going to dump on it." On Dynamite, a tournament was announced to crown the first All-Atlantic champion in AEW. Ringside News ran a poll on Twitter where majority of fans said the title isn't needed. Here's some of the reactions. "No, but it looks great. One thing that bothers me is Japan is in the Pacific Ocean. Just a weird choice of forced heritage. Dumb as hell. I wouldn't have any problem with the new title if they actually did something for the other titles in AEW, which feels like an afterthought now." Despite him calling out the IWGP Heavyweight Champion Okada last night on Dynamite, former AEW title holder Hangman Page is believed to be not having that bout according to Meltzer. It's unknown at this time what kind of match Okada will have at Forbidden Door, as Hangman's status for the event is unconfirmed. With him suffering an injury to his foot, an update on CM Punk was given on Wrestling Observer Radio. Punk had his surgery today. I don't know why they don't say it was a broken foot, and he hasn't actually said it was a broken foot, but he had foot surgery today, and I guess it went well. You know, I broke my foot about 5-6 years ago, right? So Punk asked me all about when I broke my foot, so it's like, I guess he had a broken foot, right? He didn't tell me he had a broken foot, but he asked me, did I need surgery and questions about a broken foot, so I presume it's a broken foot. When it comes to the first title defense of Roman Reigns after becoming undisputed champion, Dave Meltzer said on Wrestling Observer Radio, July 30th. He may actually wrestle on TV before that, but July 30th is his first pay-per-view championship match. He may do a TV match before then. If he wrestles Riddle, it'll be on television. It won't be on pay-per-view. At least, that's the plan right now. The plan is still Orton for July 30th. I mean, obviously, they were building up the Riddle and Reigns match on Monday, so I'm presuming they're going to do it. But I was told it would not be a pay-per-view match if they do it, and it's not one 100% that they will, but you would think that they will, so that would lead me to believe it'd be a TV match. It was even said by Sports Illustrated that Roman will not be at the upcoming pay-per-view. The expected slate of opponents for Reigns hasn't changed, but he currently is no longer scheduled to work Money in the Bank. Riddle called out Reigns this week on Raw, and Orton is a bona fide star, always ready to step into a main event opportunity. McIntyre has steadily been building momentum, which is important as we approach the summer. It's been said by SE Scoops that Dark Side of the Ring could be collaborating with WWE, as Sean Ross Sapp of Fightful reported, reached out to Dark Side of the Ring creators on the news of a new series, and Dark Side being on hold. They claim there are inaccuracies in those reports, and say an official announcement should be coming soon. Back in May, Vice TV said this about the future of their series. "We've heard some rumors flying around about Season 4 of Dark Side of the Ring. We are as committed as ever to both the series and the broader Dark Side franchise. Evan and Jason are hard at work making more content that we know our fans of the series will love. Stay tuned." And this was your Pro Wrestling News Update. I hope you're all having a great day. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you later.